We're sitting with Dave Cohen, who is an associate director in Procter & Gamble, and you're in charge of facilitating business processes and IT processes across the enterprise.
Yes, specifically I work in innovation and researching and looking for new technologies that can help us increase our speed to market, grow sales, increase productivity.
Now, when we're talking about a huge enterprise such as Procter & Gamble, we're talking about how many R&D personnel across the globe, approximately?
Well, R&D is split into two areas. One area is product R&D, where we're developing new products, new formulations, and there are thousands of people in that area. In IT innovation, we have less people, some in Procter & Gamble, some in our partners.
Can you name a few of those partners?
HP, IBM, Infosys are some of our partners.
And you're here in Israel for what specific reason, except from this wonderful DLD convention?
Well, in addition to Yossi Vardi being an important innovator, and Israel is an important market for us from a sales perspective, but also more important that there's so many startups here. We'd like to bring back that startup mentality to the way we work, but also looking for Israeli companies that can help us do business better, both in product development and in IT development.
Now, when we're talking about a global enterprise with a combination of huge R&D activity, how can you maintain the spirit of innovation across the globe? How can you keep going, sharing of knowledge across different R&D centers and doing it through IT systems?
That's a very good question. It's not easy because when you're so big, it's hard to move quick and be agile. Some of the things we're doing is we're experimenting with social networking inside the enterprise to help flow information horizontally, and then bringing people together virtually and in conferences to share information.
Now, I understand you're in the process of moving your IT infrastructure to the cloud. Can you talk a bit about that?
Well, we see the cloud as offering us agility, speed, and elasticity. So with the cloud, we don't have to own everything. If we want to expand, we can just expand, pay more. If we want to contract, we can pay less. For example, in personal productivity, one system we recently adopted was Box.net. And Box.net is a great system both in the consumer space, and we're seeing so many more systems come from the consumer space and go into the enterprise space. So that helps with personal storage. I have my files on my hard disk. They sync up to the cloud. I can get them on my mobile device. Super system.
Can you use that in order to make the enterprise interface more friendly? Now customers who are also employees coming into the organizations, they're used to Facebook, they're used to their iPhone or Android systems, and they're coming to the huge enterprise application and they see all those buttons. Can you facilitate and make it easier for them to use?
Well, I think it depends upon the person. So the older people like me, and I'm an exception, but the older people tend to adopt the technology more slowly. They're used to storing files on their hard drive. They don't necessarily understand the cloud. The younger people come in to the enterprise. They expect the cloud. They're used to applications like Dropbox in the commercial space, and when they see an application like Box, they immediately get it. They adopt it very quickly.
Let's talk about difficulties in moving into the clouds. Usually when we talk about the clouds, everybody raises the question of security and how do you prevent information leaks? What do you do in order to prevent such leaks?
Great question. So we have a governance organization already that has been in place for quite a while to work with our outsourced partners and ensure things like security and with regulations with different governments like European Works Council, which has very different rules than we do in the US and parts of Asia. And then we're also very careful, so very highly restricted information we tend not to want to put on the cloud. And we work on things like authentication to make sure that all our requirements are met.
Now, not all technological related issues are what's troubling the move into the cloud. There are some restrictions that come from regulations and the ability to move information from one country to another. How do you approach that sort of problem?
Very slowly. So, for example, with the European Works Council, I know it's taken us quite a while, and I'm not sure, I don't really know, but I'm not sure if we've even qualified Box, for example, in parts of Europe, where they have very strict rules.
So let's say you want to transfer information from one R&D center that develops a certain pharmaceutical product into another country. I know in Canada they have very restrictive rules. How do you go about that?
That's a great question. I'm not sure I know exactly the details on that.
Okay. Thank you so much, David. It's been
Thank you so much.
lovely having you in our studio.